viewers from the United States and around the globe. You are watching Haqq News, where we deliver the truth. This is your host, Hassan Syed. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we are going to have a closer look at the turmoil that is currently brewing in Syria. This revolution in Syria is part of an ongoing internal violent conflict in Syria. It is a part of a wider Arab Spring, a wave of upheaval throughout the Arab world. This revolution, in more than one aspect, seems to be emulating the other Arab nations as they have tried to reconstruct their nation. The big question is, what do these protesters want, and what made them take to the streets in such large numbers? Public demonstrations first began in January 2011 when a resident of a small southern city took to the streets to protest the torture of students who put anti-government graffiti up. This has now developed into a nationwide uprising. These protesters are calling for the resignation of President Bashar al-Assad and the overthrow of his government and the Ba'ath Party control, which has been controlling the country for nearly 50 years. The Syrian army has been deployed to quell the uprisings, and the ironic part of this is that the army is shooting their own civilians. Witnesses report that soldiers who refused to follow orders to open fire on civilians were in fact executed by their own Syrian government. In response to all the chaos currently holding Syria, President Bashar has actually placed the blame on armed gangs for causing the trouble, and he denies all reports of defection. Let's go over to a map to analyze the areas of recent fighting. Homs, right over here, is known as the capital of the revolution. It has been subject to heavy shelling for over a month while the Syrian army attempts to gain ground, and as the government claims to restore order. This entire region over here is the city of Homs. As we can see, the Syrian army has bombed many of its own cities. Bama Amr and all the districts in red are the ones that have been targeted by the Syrian army. They destroyed entire neighborhoods in an effort to take control of these regions. In a minute, we will turn it over to our senior correspondent, Sabiha, for a deeper analysis on the situation on the ground over in Syria. She is currently reporting to us live from Syria. As you may or may not know, journalists have been the target of the Syrian government. We are in fact very fortunate to have her with us, despite all the risks. Sabiha, what can you tell us about everything that is going on in the area?
Thank you, Hassan. It's a pleasure to be here today. The situation seems to be worsening, Hassan. This recent uprising in Syria has not only impacted families in the region, but families all across the globe. Looking at the casualty rate, the UN has reported that casualties at 9,700 to 11,800 people. Most of them are civilians, along with 2,500 to 3,900 deaths from arm-resistant fighters. Other sources are saying that 9,000 civilian lives have been lost thus far. Many more have been injured, and tens of thousands of people have been imprisoned. The thing to know in this case is that the Free Syrian Army consists of mainly young men. The average age of most of the protesters is in fact only 22 years old. These young men, women, and children are putting themselves in direct danger by taking it to the streets. It's a sad fact that many husbands and sons never made it home. I just wanted to share a picture with you guys that one of the Free Syrian Army journalists had sent to us. Hassan, can we have it up, please? This image depicts the extent of the cruelty of what is occurring. People are being forced to bow down to Assad, and the consequences of not doing so is death. Entire families are uprooted due to these conflicts. Many women are left widowed, having no way to feed their children or earn a living. The percent of orphans is also rising to unimaginable heights. The recent devastation in the neighborhood of Baba Amr has left thousands of families dislocated. Those who had a place to evacuate attempted to leave the city when the shelling first began. Buildings are being destroyed completely due to the continuous shelling. Some reporters that I've personally talked to describe the destruction and the items you find on the street and in the ruined homes. One of them painted a picture in my mind as she said, "Just try to imagine a line of slippers and shoes covered in dust outside the door, and to know the fact that the owners of these shoes never made it, and the entire room inside was rubble is just horrifying." Hassan, these civilians are being deprived of their basic necessities: food, water, clothing, medical supplies, and even shelter. The bombing is non-stop in certain regions. Children cry to their mothers asking when their father or brothers are coming home. How does a mother tell their child that their brother or father aren't coming back? I just wanted to send a clear message to all those who are watching. Be grateful for your family and give them the love that they deserve. Hassan, back to you.
Great having you with us today. Thank you, Sabiha. Now let's try and keep Syria in our prayers and take heed of the wise advice that Sabiha gave us. Thank you for joining us on Haqq News, where we try to deliver the truth behind every story.
مدعيكم غايب عنا والحكم ميوز في الغيبة ينبغي الإنسان يتأنى ويحكم بأحكام مصيبة لا تحس بالحيف ذا منا النصف ناخذ ونعطيبه سوي